Hey everybody, it's Mike Venus, La Soul, and I'm back to give another producer tip to help with the workflow of anybody that's brand new to using these standalone devices or working standalone with inside the MPC Live 2 or the Akai Force. I own both. I owned the MPC Live 2 for about 2 years, then I flipped it. And I own the Akai Force, right? For several years. I'm not flipping that, okay? But both share a lot of similarities in what I'm going to be talking about. In this video, I'm going to be talking about utilizing key groups. Now, a lot of people be like, they're not fans of the key group. A lot of the old school producers that used, rack mount samplers and stuff, they might be more familiar with key groups. Really, there's not that much big difference between utilizing a key group track and a drum track, because they basically do the same thing. But this is just to bring some clarity, right? So what is a key group track? A key group track is a sample-based instrument track that you create by utilizing samples as the sound source, and you use the filters and the ADSR and envelopes and stuff to shape that sound to create your instrument. That's what a key group is, right? Now on the MPC and on the Force, the key groups have, so I don't confuse you, you can, within one key group track, you can have 128 key groups, right? That can hold up to four samples per key group, right? In a drum track, you got 128 pads, 16 divided by 8 banks. I want to say it's 128. And you can put 4 samples per pad. So it's similar in that holding 512 samples. Both tracks can hold up to 512 samples, right? So that's a lot. You can get really creative. Now with key groups, the concept of a key group was for, let's say if somebody was utilizing the key group track and they had a keyboard, they can put certain sounds on a particular note on that keyboard. So if you wanted to, how the MPC key 61, that concept is the same thing as a key group. You can put your sounds on individual keys on the keyboard, right? Just like how you can put your sounds individually on pads in the drum track, you're just doing it on a keyboard, giving you, besides 16 pads if you're working in the MPC, or 64 in the Force, now you can have the whole range of a keyboard, which is 88 keys, which giving you more opportunity to put sounds all over the keyboard and isolate it, right? So you could put in one key group track, if you want to, you could put all your sounds in there. You can put your kick, your hats, your snares, all your drum sounds, your percussion, your loops, your melodies, whatnot, and you can set the range on where on the keyboard you wanted that particular sound to be at. So whenever you push that particular key, only that sound will trigger within that range that you set. You can even overlap sounds within a certain range so that when you push one or push any notes within that range, more than one sound can play. So it's a lot of flexibility within a key group. The way I utilize key groups primarily to substitute for plugins, right? Utilizing the auto sample feature. I know a lot of people think, the auto sample feature is not as refined as it should be, but it's very useful. I'll give you an example. Let's say I pull up a plug-in track. I'm just going to utilize inside the box. I'm not using no external gear. I'm sampling inside the box. You can resample from sounds inside the box, right? I can pull up a plug-in track. Let's say I want that piano sound, right? I can either set to sample between a certain range that I like and set that in the key group, right? Or I can sample one note and spread that across the keyboard to create the sound. Or, like I said, I can set a certain range. So like for an example, I personally like to play my piano or mainly my chords between C2 to like maybe C5, in between that range. So it's giving me at least 2-octave range to play my primary chords, right? And I might set my melody somewhere between C5 and C6 or C5, C7, right? And I might put my bass between C1 and B1, right? That 1 octave. I can set that up all on one particular key group, or I can make that into the whole, like their individual sounds on different key groups by just auto sampling from those plugins that's inside the Force or the MPC to create the sound, so that having the key group will be less taxing on the CPU than if I just had those sounds maintained in their plugins on different plugin tracks. And also, let's say if I wanted to layer up sounds, but I'm only limited to 8 plugin tracks, and I want to use more, hypothetically, use more than these 8 plugin track sounds. Well, I run into a problem if I can't go beyond 8. That's where utilizing the key group and sampling, auto sampling and resampling from the plugin to create a key group based off of that sample you made will free up not only the processing and CPU stress on the device, but also give you the flexibility to add more sounds without taxing your machine. And the only thing now that this device has to really worry about is MIDI. It's MIDI, not processing and maintaining the stability of a plugin. Because I know a lot of people have been complaining about the newer plugins that Akai came out with, that they bought, and they try to use them in their projects, and the next thing they know, they pull it up, and their machine is damn near taxed out on the CPU. Utilize these key group tracks. I'm telling you, they will change. Once you really put your energy into it and really learn it, it will change how you think about working in these devices, because you're not guaranteed the processing power of a computer in the sense of a laptop or a desktop. You know what I'm saying? You're limited to less than 2 gigabytes of RAM, and you want to work with the device and its limitations to turn that into a strength, not a liability. So hopefully this was helpful. Oh, another note. Just like how in the drum tracks, each pad, you could put 4 effects per pad. So let's say you wanted to put 4 effects on this drum sound, and you want 4 effects on this bass sound, and 4 effects on the sound of a horn or whatever. I don't know, whatever you want to do. You could do the same thing in a key group. So on that one key group track, let's say you want to set up your ranges, you know your ranges that you normally work at, you can put 4 effects per key group within that key group. And then you can put 4 effects on the whole track itself. So just think about that. There's really no difference between the drum tracks and the key group tracks. It's just the application on the way you utilize it and how they were used when people work with just straight hardware, rack samplers, and even drum machine samplers. Okay? Remember that. The most important, strongest feature of the Akai Force and the MPC is that it is a sampler and a sequencer. Help your computer. So with that, Mike out.